Chat. Welcome. Welcome to my giant desk room where I make all the financial decisions here at the facility. This is also where I do negotiations, so I can feel like there's more of like a power differential. Doesn't matter, chat. We are in for another informational stream. I've been following the Titan submersible disaster news as the hearings have been going on. I know many of you also in the chat have been doing so. A lot of you seem very knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than me. We'll get to it all. Couple things right off the top. I am covering this because I think I have a perspective, having an engineering background, and I do not want to in any way, shape, or form seem like I am just trying to milk this topic. There is legitimately new things that came out since last time we did this, and I have now read through hundreds of pages of documents, and we did find some interesting things in there that I think that we can learn from. Second, we're being as respectful as we need to be. This is still a disaster. People still died. So we'll be civil and environmental engineers, if you will. To that end, today we'll be going through. Too bad for people on the phone. They can see tiny me. We'll be going through not all of the evidence that was presented at these hearings, but a lot of them. I have a lot of stuff written down here that we can go through. And I'm ready to teach you as much as I possibly can from my perspective. And we're going to get to all of that. But before we do, I just want to say thank you for joining me here at the facility. If you want to join us, you want to support us, you can always do so. You do not have to, but I appreciate when you do, especially like Fem Fun Time, the $4.99. Good news, more retired nuclear plants are being brought back online. The bad news, they're also being exclusively used to power AI stuff like ChatGPT. Not necessarily a bad thing. We'll see. But chat, I know many of you are not familiar with me or this hallowed place of science, so why don't we get right into it, huh? Kevin, the doors are too loud. The doors are too loud. I don't care what pressure they're under. Well, I don't know. Put a ball bearing in there somewhere. That usually works. So chat, what I was actually going to say. My leg. What I was actually going to say was that if you want to read the evidence yourself, you can do so. It's at the United States Coast Guard website. I have it pinned to the top of the chat, I believe. So if you want to delve deeper in, don't know how that worked. If you want to, actually I do. If you want to delve deeper in to everything we're going to be talking about today, you are free to do so. It's also in the description of this video. I love your shirt. Yeah, it says chonk because I have a very chonky cat. Let me do something here. Do I do this and then this? There we go. That's how physics works. So chat, did the Titan resurface? So the Titan was recovered a year ago. And in some of this new evidence, as I'm pointing out, they have new pictures, new conclusions, and new descriptions of how things went, including the bodies, which I know everyone is morbidly curious about. So there's a lot of documents here. Some of them are hundreds of pages. A lot of them are recordings of conversations at Ocean Gate. And when I say in the title, you know, much like a very YouTuber drama kind of title, I'm not kidding. There are some transcripts that I found, as in the thumbnail of this video, that make the situation pretty crazy. I've been watching for years. First time here in the chat live. It says Jimmy Biggs. Is this all public? Yes. Some of it, I should point out, is redacted. For example, boop, like when we start getting into this, some of it is redacted. We do now know this person's name because he's testified. Because he has testified, but some of it is redacted. But we'll go through all of that. All right, Chad? Yeah, I'll have to recenter some of this stuff as we go through it, because some of you are like, oh, it's not big enough. I know. I hate when people tell me it's not big enough. So where do we start, Chad? Where do we begin? We begin with the Coast Guard's investigation of the Titan submersible. The hearings have been going on for a long time now, 2 weeks, and as such, there's a lot of evidence that has been released. I'm trying a middle part. What do you think about it? I could change it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, you know. And the other big reason why I've been following this again and doing this for a second time on the updates is there's still that question that was open kind of last time we did this. Was this incompetence or was it hubris? Gen Z broccoli haircut? No, I'd rather shave my head. Middle part looks good. Bam. Was this hubris or was it incompetence? And a lot of you were in the chat with me last time speculating, well, there's a lot of incompetent people that led up to this. And it doesn't really seem like that. What it seems to be now, to give you the punchline, is really a lack of safety culture and a nonstop ambitious drive to do something innovative by a single person, the CEO, who kind of trampled all over a lot of other very smart people at his company and in the government to get this done. So it does seem like hubris, and you will see why I draw that conclusion, especially once we get to the recorded interview with Mr. Rush and the former director of OceanGate, who was let go after making a report about everything that was wrong with the sub. But we will also get to that. Chat, as we go through this, if you have any comments, questions, I am trying to stay as cognizant of them as we go. So let's begin. New photos, new video, mostly new photos since last time, all released to the public, collected by the government. You have better pictures of what the carbon fiber hull looked like, the forward dome, the viewport. And this is when we start getting the inkling that corners were being cut. And I know some of this has been mentioned before, but I hadn't seen some of these images. What does our oxygen and scrubber system look like? Well, part of it is glued to this box. Okay. That doesn't really seem... Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Cables. That makes sense. Here's what we're controlling with. Do you really need that fine of control? Doesn't matter. This is important later on when we're looking at the disaster photos. Drawn on signs. The drop weight system consisted of old metal scrap that was just connected to the sub and then dropped. Nothing fancy, of course. And that's a sub. We also have new images of when last time we mentioned the newly released information that on one occasion the sub was basically dropped onto the deck of the ship that you're seeing now, and the force of the drop, you can see my cursor here, I hope, sheared off the bolts, the connectors here to the front of this sub, and the front of the sub just fell off. And when I say fell off, chat, a shearing force is this, two objects moving past each other. That's why shears are called shears. Shearing force. That's what scissors do. Two things moving past each other. Shearing, okay? So what actually happened here, if you want to think about it, is the front of the dome and the rest of the dome, when it hit the deck, this force of hitting the deck caused this shearing action that literally chopped the bolts in half, and the front fell off. I can't say that not every sub would do that, but that seems like a bad indicator of robustitude, let's say. Evan Williams, thank you for the 5. I've always very confused why someone would make an external pressure vessel out of carbon fiber. The fibers would be in compression. Thoughts? We'll get to that. Evan, thank you for the 5. So the government has labeled this image of Titan after dome fell off. That isn't good, obviously. And now the Coast Guard also released their summary of their report. Basic factual information, loss of life and total constructive loss, submersible Titan. This kind of goes over everything that we've already talked about in past streams, but something that I noticed, and these are the grisly details, Jen. Something that I noticed that I hadn't seen in the language before was when they're talking about the location of the accident and the final location and the recovery of the bodies. Now, let's read them real quick as I bring up some notes that I got from a forensic analyst, someone who works in forensics at the facility. We have a lot of nerdy people there, if you ever thought about joining. Recovery operations. During the 2 recovery operations, presumed human remains were recovered. Now, the operative word is here, Chet. And this is what I asked my forensic buddy about. Why would you use the term, very much on purpose, presumed? The remains were recovered and respectfully transported to shore. They positively identified the DNA profiles for 5 people. Now, chat. That's not. It's kind of legalistic vagueness, as you're saying in the chat, Nyan Pop-Tart Cat. But I asked my forensic friend in the facility about this. Why would you use language like this? Presumed human. And this is what they said. I'm just going to paraphrase so I don't quote them directly, just in case they didn't want to be. These sentences tell me that they recovered something that resembled human remains or were potentially human remains, and they didn't have any objective evidence to say it was human. Now, as we talked about last stream, when we calculated the pressures at these depths, basically by multiplying atmospheric pressure, dividing the depth in meters by 10 to get atmospheres. The pressure at the depth at which the Titan imploded was in the same ballpark as the tensile strength of human flesh and human bone. So when you say presumed human remains, my expert tells me this is because they weren't able to objectively say that these were human remains anymore. Forensics will never say something is something unless they have specific science to support the claim. What they're going to do, he explains to me further, when you're talking about recovered respectfully, that's mostly for the friends and families. And what they're going to do is just take small samples of the remains and then multiply the DNA profiles so that the majority of the material is intact, and then they can be buried, cremated, etc. appropriately. Just reading through the rest of the notes here. So we're at pressures at which flesh rips and bones break flesh rips and bones break, as I said. So I don't think we had seen this language before these hearings. So we have a good impression what happened to the people inside of the sub. I know, like me, a lot of you are morbidly curious about what actually happened to them, and it's something like being turned into a shapeless mass. Something that investigators could only presume was human. Which is, again, why I say the situation is kind of crazy. There's not a whole lot of disasters that leave people in this state physically. We also have thank you, Dante King, for gifting the 10 Memby Bemby ships. I appreciate you. I hope we're learning together. We also have testimony from an engineering group that was tasked with evaluating the engineering choices of the sub. This is new information as well. What circumstances would result in human DNA in non-human remains? It says ever falling with the 5. I think you can imagine. But let's just be clear. If someone's eaten by something, you know. Actually, I talk about a story in an upcoming episode. Actually, you know, let's not get into it. It's all not super cool. Anyway, there's a whole report prepared on the investigation of this sub. Should you be using acrylic windows? What was the Ocean Gate window like? Captain Q, thank you for the gift. How was the window interfacing with the rest of the submarine? Seems like there is more pressure than they thought. I appreciate you, Dante. But that's not the most damning parts of these analyses. And again, you can go through all this yourself too. Don't just believe everything that I say. I notice a couple chatters that definitely know more than me. I don't have a underwater engineering degree, just an engineering one. You see mention of what we were talking about in the last stream. Each cycle creates more deflection, strain at the pressure face. You have materials that are dissimilar going through a lot of stress and strain every time it goes down into 400 atmosphere pressure, comes back up. There's a lot of stress and strain, and that can create failure points. So why carbon fiber? Again, and this is a good answer, chat. Like, there are submersibles that use carbon fiber. This is not a crazy thing. It's not like building the entire thing out of ice or something. You know. Another squid gifting 10 memberships. Thank you. You've paid for my cat's food. She's got a big old tummy. I can see it. I appreciate you. As does she. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate when you do, of course. So it's not crazy to use carbon fiber. And why is it not crazy? Well, steel and titanium take a long time to design and produce, and they cost a lot. It is carbon fiber is 40% lighter than aluminum. It has a higher ultimate tensile strength. It has corrosion resistance, less expensive. But compressive strength and shear resistance is problematic with carbon fiber, as we will see from the new photos of the wreck that were released yesterday and this morning. So they go through the engineering of carbon fiber, and when we're looking at the oh man, you guys don't have to do this. Kimberly Miller gifting 20 memberships. Kim, can I call you Kim? I appreciate you. And you look great today. Have you been working out? But also in tandem with the National Transportation Safety Board, this engineering firm looking at carbon fiber, showing wrinkles, deflections, voids, basically a non-uniform material. Oh my gosh, downrange note, not to be outdone. with the 50 gifted memberships. Thank you, Downrange Note. You've done this multiple times, and that little sting of music was for you. Again, thank you, brother. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. What a Chad. What a chatterly man. Or woman. Or them. I don't care. We donate because we love you sexy science man, says Downrange Note with the 10. All right. Jeez. I mean, it is a good hair day, but so there's problems here, obviously, that the engineering firm is pointing out. And what they pointed out, Mariona, or Myrona, sorry, Myrona. Wow, you have a nice looking avatar image. Myrona makes stuff, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Chat, please. I'm trying to maintain my professional composure. The engineering firm pointing out that they didn't have, OceanGate did not implement, and we will see this when we get to the actual transcription, which is kind of the big juicy part of everything I'm going to show you. They didn't have this process of this iterative process of design, predict, test, measure, analyze, redesign, and going back and doing it again and again. You will see across dozens of pages, the CEO, Stockton Rush, basically refusing to do this. Refusing. And at this time, here's the other new piece of information. It is indeterminate how this sub exploded. That is bad news, but it's also because there were so many overlapping, unmitigated, single mode failure paths. Chad, those are all really bad words to read when you're donating. Thank you, Crispy. You already work here. You don't have to donate. Thank you. Multiple unmitigated single mode failure paths that overlap. That is super duper bad. The words unmitigated single mode failure is all terrible. You want overlapping, redundant, robust systems. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with all of you. 13 gifting the 5, please. I'm just a scienceman. Yes, Jane, thank you for the 10. I heard what they're doing with TMI. We have a stream on it back on the main channel if you want to check it out. So we're looking at potential implosion points now here. Bending, unknown design life. How long could this thing actually resist these dives? Shearing, like we talked about, like when the front end fell off, shearing could shear off one of these domes and water could rush in. The window could have failed with excessive cracking or movement. So we have multiple different overlapping failure points. And so when I said last time and this time in the titles and the thumbnails and such, this is crazy. This is even worse. This is even worse than we thought it was. So what would the Kemper engineering recommend? Recommend experimental craft to be limited to an operator and an assistant with no passengers. If it's experimental, no passengers. A minimum level of aids. Required a licensed professional to be a part of the engineering team. OceanGate didn't have any of this. Okay. So it is quite bad. And this comes also with new images from the Wreckage site, which indicate how and what failed. So we haven't seen any of these images before. Parts of the hull. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. This is it from the other side, or closer than what we saw last time. The bottom. This is the forward where the front end came off. And this is all hull collapsed down onto itself. Right. Here are the different pieces, which they label by numbers, layers 4 and 5, 1 and 2. Now, why do these look like pieces and not a solid hull? Well, Titan II, hull manufactured used a co-bonding process, wrinkles, porosity, voids found in a multi-layered hull structure. Rubbing artifacts found, loud bangs heard. And so what does this indicate? A total and complete failure of the carbon fiber hull because of what it was made of and how it was designed and what it was subjected to. Hull wreckage shows significant delamination into 3 different shells. So chat, we're talking about going from this. Look, this is very instructive. This is a cross section of the hull. Okay. So if I took the circle and I cut across it, I'd see this. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are now, they look like this. This should have been monolithic, you know, like glued together, held together, stayed together. And this is what it ended up as. You know, fairly incredible. Was there more stuff here that I wanted to look at? They did do they did do the actual testing on material that they brought up a year ago. And you can see just the severe damage to this material. Okay. And some more new photos here as well that we haven't seen. If passengers signed liability waivers in light of what appeared to be extreme carelessness by OceanGate, would the liability waiver still be valid, says Josh with the 5. Someone's getting sued, for sure. Don't know how, don't know. Maybe, didn't Legal Eagle just put out a video about his handsomeness and also this? So you can check that out as well. I don't have any legal experience. So new footage here. Or rather, hull piece A and hull piece B. This should all be a ring, chat. You see the delamination problems. This is why the human remains could only be presumed. Because it went from all of this is where people can be to this. Yeah, you can see, chat, it's not like we're in extreme weather down here on the ocean floor. You know, we're not subjected to the sun, to wind, to everything like that. Look at just how shattered and damaged this material for this hull is. It really does speak to the forces down here and of the unsuitability with what they did with the material. Yeah, Scott Manley did a video on this quite early. It's why I did one, because I saw it was the number 6 YouTube video in the world. So I was like, hey, maybe I think I have something to say. Cody's Lab, just popping in here to take a break while I edit my own video. Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate what you do. But chat, as I said, there's the kind of the juicy stuff that I want to get to that really earns the kind of drama that I implied in the title of this video, why the situation is crazy. But before we get there, I just wanted to show you just how far across this material was distributed. This circle is, I'm going to guess, this means it's 200 meters in diameter. So across 200 meters in diameter, so this, you know, from the radius is going to be 100 meters, which is the length of a football field. So imagine all of this debris. What happened? The implosion was energetic enough that the material was distributed across at least a football field's worth of space. Okay, now for the craziness of the situation. And in situations like these, the craziness is often human. in nuclear disasters, other things that we've covered on this channel, it is often the human element where things go wrong and get really weird. And here was no different. So here is a letter from the director of Marine Operations, who will be doing this conversation with Stockton Rush in this officially admitted evidence here. And what he did, basically, is that he, as part of handing over from engineering to operations, like, okay, Ocean Gate and Titan V2 is going from the engineering stage to the operations stage. So what I'm going to do, and he told Stockton, the CEO, that he was going to do this, what I'm going to do is make a report and go through everything with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure that when we hand this thing over, we are confident with the engineering. So he did that. He did all of this inspection. And what you can see here, chat, is this first column is the notes. Here are what he thinks Ocean Gate should do. And closed out means, have we done that? Have we done the thing that I recommended? On the forward dome, there's pitting. Oops. I recommend that we remachine the ceiling face of the domes because they are non-standard and weird, which I will show you in a second. We have not fixed the seal of the domes, and that's what the thumbnail of this video shows. Is it going to leak? It's going to leak, Stockton. It's going to leak. We need to verify the conditions of the attachments. This has not been done, not been done, not been done. Bolts must be secured before moving the vehicle, not been done. Non-destructive inspection. So not testing materials all the way to failure, but testing them how they're going to be used in situ. Have we done this? No. And I can show you the delamination and the porosity in the carbon. Thank you, Brian, with the 20. I'll try to get to that in a little bit if I know. So, Chad, there's a lot of red in his report. And because there's a lot of red in his report, this former director of Marine Operations went to Stockton, which we will read his exchange, and he went to him with a report to talk about it. And something I never expected, he was fired on the spot. But we'll get to that. So this is the problem with the ceiling face, not ceiling, but ceiling face of the domes. This is what you should have, according to the O-ring handbook. If you want to make these dovetail groove-like designs, you need the ceiling apparatus to be significantly above what that ceiling apparatus fits into, with no spaces, with grooves, with diameters coinciding with the O-ring diameter. Do these look slightly not like that? No space, no space. Nice up above for a nice positive connection. Now, when he brings us up to Stockton, again, in the thumbnail, he says, and some of you were saying, what, does Stockton think he was going to die when he says, am I going to die? No, my reading of this exchange that I'm about to go through is Stockton pushing through it. When he brings up this O-ring and says, not only is the O-ring, it's not correct, but what the hell are these holes for that allow for leakage? He says to Stockton, which I'll show you, is it going to leak? Stockton says, and he says, Stockton, it's going to leak. And Stockton says, my interpretation of their exchange, given what happens afterwards, is actually not, am I going to die? But am I going to die from it? Stockton, it's going to leak. Am I going to die? the entire conversation he spends in that sort of attitude. That's how I'm reading it, based on the 190 pages or so that I read. What is it, 119? He's using he's argumenting ad absurdum, right? Am I going to die from it? Well, then who cares? Whatever. That's what he's doing. He wasn't asking out of fear, am I going to die? He was asking to shut the guy up. So that's bad. When he was testing, the former director, when he was testing the carbon fiber, you probably shouldn't be able to see through it. And something I didn't see really anybody talk about. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show this to you here. Anyway, he tested the floor of the sub, the material they were using, and he found that it burned uncontrollably. So he pointed all of this out. The former director pointed all of this out, who has also testified. So he pointed all of this out. And this is the next day. Okay. Thank you, Ryan, for the 10. This is the next day. So I believe that's correct. This was on, this is the same day, I guess. So on the 19th of 2018, former director sends this letter, sends like, we can't send this to operations. I don't like the engineering of it. He says that, and he sends this email on the 19th. The same day, the former director of Marine Operations demands a talk with the CEO, Stockton. And he decides to record this interview for posterity, just in case, you know. And the NTSB obtained a transcript of this recording. This is new evidence. So this is 120 pages. I read through all of it. But I picked out some specific instances where I think this is going to give you a perfect answer to the question, was this incompetence or was this hubris? You know. So let's start. So there was someone else in the room who is not named. But most of the time when you see these redacted names here, it is the CEO, Mr. Rush, speaking with the former director. So let's jump ahead, because they're kind of shooting the stuff for a little while. Here, the former director is talking about going through rigorous non-destructive testing and going through licensing procedures that everybody else does. He says, but at some point you gotta do this. Even before we had computers and committees and stuff. Oh, this is what Stockton says. So sorry. It's hard with all the redacted names. So what I said was still true. The director is trying to get Stockton to do these tests and these iterative design decisions. And Stockton says, you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to dive in the thing. Just put me in the thing. I'm going to dive it. I'm going to collect data. I'll just do it myself. Before computers and committees, we used to just go out and do it. We used to just go out and fly our planes. The director says, in terms of you going in the submersible, I am so against it. Okay. We spoke about it. Everyone else in the company has spoken to you about this. Nobody has said anything against it. I'm against you doing it. Do you understand? I understand. We should be putting that sub on a wire for non-destructive testing. I understand. With this experimental, you can feel the tension in the room. Right? And you'll see a couple of times Rush mentions that they're at an impasse. The director wants him to do non-destructive repeated testing, and Mr. Rush wants to jump in the sub and test it himself. When I was first flying a plane, you know, I've tested and flown planes myself. Why can't I just do the same kind of thing here? Well, obviously the punchline is, you know why. How many dives do you want to do with this thing? Let's do 3. I'll do 1 and then 2, and then we'll go by increments from there on that day. I disagree with that. You shouldn't do that. No, we'll stop at a couple hundred meters. We'll collect data, all that kind of thing. So you can start to sense where Mr. Rush's head is at. Jumping ahead a little bit. And you can feel kind of the childishness, right? Look, we have a PhD, Stockton again. We have a PhD. We had them look at this. I've spent 8 years working on this thing. It's fun. That is not the case. Honestly, Stockton, that is not the case. What I'm doing, I'm just trying to get answers and put forward my recommendations with my experience inside the sub industry. I understand. Which outweighs your experience you have in this industry. I know this is your company. I understand. But at the end of the day, I've been doing this for a long time. It's your first submersible project, all right? In terms of getting everything right the first time, this is critical. I understand. With wanting to be in the submersible. I get it. In terms of your viewport paperwork, the acrylic window, let me see it. What's the objection to let... This is an in-person conversation, chat, that is being recorded, just so you know. They're sitting at the same table. Let me see it. Why won't you let me see the paperwork? It's not a bad thing to have a second set of eyes on the paperwork. It doesn't, you won't, we'll tell you that it don't worry about it. Why keep it from me though? Well, because you don't need, it's not going to meet the parameters, all right? You're going to see that it doesn't meet the parameters. We will admit to that, okay? Okay. But just to be clear, how many subs have you designed and built yourself? I'm not a designer. You can get the sense of the driving force here, right? You're getting, even though we're not hearing the man, you're getting a very clear sense of his hard-headedness, in my opinion. In my opinion. Let's jump ahead a little bit more. As I said, there's 120 pages of this. This was a lot of stuff, chat. So let me just make sure I'm getting to the right points. Oh, chat. Here's a sentence for you. This is Stockton talking. Steve Lawson, thanks for becoming a member. The full transcript is in the pinned comment. Dusty Bones, it's also in the description. Stockton says, look, with acoustic monitoring, we can get away with testing this thing in situ with me in the sub. If it fails, then we'll just stop. But that's fine because it's not going to fail all of a sudden. It doesn't just implode. Steve Lawson, again, not just a member, but gifting 50 memberships. Thank you, Steve. I hope any of this is educational. I certainly learned a little bit from it. Yeah. Now I remember why I wrote this page down. Jumping ahead, chat, because like I said, I didn't want to be super, YouTube drama-y with the title and such, but this is a crazy situation between two people that led to disaster, I think. This was very indicative of what led to the disaster. And you can tell I'm a little bit dour today, So Rush was another Elon. I mean, you get the sense that this is kind of an Elon situation, but Elon has never been at 400 atmospheres of pressure, Okay. So here is where they start to have an impasse. This is where unbelievably... This ends, chat, I'll tell you, stick around for a second, because this whole exchange ends unbelievably petty. A very petty way to end this conversation. So Stockton says, so obviously a concern here is that you don't have a lot of confidence in the engineering of the vessel, and that your other experience from other vessels gives you serious concerns about the safety from the carbon fiber and the safety of the test procedure and me not going in it. You have serious concerns. You have a lot of serious concerns. Is that correct? Former director. Correct. And I don't believe we've alleviated those concerns in this meeting. No, you did not. And I don't believe we're going to alleviate your concerns. Correct. That's a problem. You're a great pilot. There's no question about that. Sure. Okay, but Mr. Rush, we have to come back. We know about the carbon fiber, okay? We've seen the carbon fiber. The samples, they're a mess. They're not samples. They're not samples? No, they're scrap. They're cut off. They're just scrap from the ends. They're scrap. Okay, but my thing is, genuine question, is there any way that we can do non-destructive testing on the hull to verify its integrity? And I know a lot of produce or products, that probably is in the description, that have been built on carbon fiber, they have voids, which is acceptable in the space industry and the boat industry, but not the submersible industry in the way that we want to use it. Stockton. I don't care if there's voids. I don't even care if they tell me there's 1,000 voids. I'm still going to go down in the submarine because I want to see the data as it goes down. I'm confident that even if there was a massive voids, it's somebody's fault. It might only be good to 2,000 meters. Stockton, it might only be good to 20 meters. No. Well, Stockton, you don't know that for sure. Well, yeah, I don't know that for sure, but that's not rational. Yeah, but no, because you didn't test it, there's no one here that can say exactly what the hull is good for. Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. What's to guarantee that those voids were there before you even finished the first dive in the first place? Or after the last dive where Stockton stated we're scrapping the hull? Mr. Rush says, do you think that hull can do 20 feet from the marina? I don't know. We haven't tested it. Okay. That's my answer. I'm not a carbon fiber expert. We haven't tested it. Okay. I just want information here. Okay. And information, you don't have information. Yeah, no, we do. Hold on. We have all the information we need. Yeah. Okay. You can't just dismiss that. I didn't dismiss it. I just want to see it. You don't have to see it. This is the other person in the room. There's no way he actually said that's his Braden. This is recorded. Josh Graves. I feel like I'm doing a little radio play right now. Is this, Chad, is this at all interesting or informative to you? I really don't want to cash in on the deaths of people, but I'm trying to get you what I see as an inside look at what actually caused this, you know? I love it. Keep going. It's kind of mind-blowing. Okay. So we push a little bit further ahead. You can see they start. So, Chet, one thing to notice, just what my Sherlock eyes start to notice is that if I cross my eyes, don't really look at anything, you see a lot of, at the beginning of their conversation, you see a lot of long exchanges, a lot of back and forth, but near the end of their conversation, things start to get a lot more heated, where they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the way this ends is, yeah, you'll see. Okay. It's crazy. But you can see they start going back and forth, which just answer my questions, please, about this thing before we hand it off. Okay, so Stockton is coming to terms with these concerns. You've stated that you're not going to get comfortable unless we test the project in the way that you want to test it. And you're not ever comfortable with me getting in the sub before I do that. Yes, these issues need to be closed out. Stockton, I understand. These are serious issues. I understand. The risk is high here. I understand. Especially with this, Stockton. I understand. It's not been made clear why I'm not being given information. Yeah. No. I've seen the information. You haven't given me the information because it's not good, is it? Yeah, but that's just because they don't know the facts, and that's fine. It's fine. You can poke holes and ask all your little questions. Yeah. What I'm saying is, if you stick with your approach, we're not going to get anywhere. I'm ad-libbing a little bit, chat, but I'm only adding, their names and stuff. You can see, I think you can see into his mind a little bit here. You're not going to be happy with what I do. The former director. The main thing I'm concerned with, Stockton, is you're throwing yourself down 4,000 meters. I'm not throwing myself down to 4,000 meters. I'm incrementally testing it until we get down there. No. This is the thing. And I've discussed this. I've sent a test procedure that should be done properly in terms of the system going down on a wire. You can test it using strain gauges, your test gauges. You get the data, you analyze it. It's staircasing. I understand. Yes, it's the industry. I've been in the industry a long time. This is what I get it. I know how the industry works. Nobody has had an accident for such a long time. I get it. For exactly this reason. Now, I understand. We have stringent testing. I understand. Okay. The hull may be classed, but the ship is not classed. Yep. It's all new to everybody. I understand. So why are we not even trying to follow the guidelines in terms of doing pressure testing? What, there's an industry hanging on a rope guideline? Okay, first of all, hanging on a rope is not a zero probability solution. See where this is going. Jacob Pratt says, I can't read. I feel like I'm doing okay. You know what? Since I'm not... You can clarify what you meant when you said that, but I'm not feeling so good today, so I'm going to ban you forever if you don't shape up and ship out. We jump ahead. So we're nearing the end of their conversation. Everything is starting to get much more heated. I can't tell if they're yelling at each other. So this is Stockton again. Look, I've been getting the data. I've been collecting from experts all over the planet, and I'm still not going to be able to convince you, brackets, because I'm not doing the testing that you want. You've got a history. I know. You've got a history of testing. Yes, a lot of history. And stuff under and seeing things, a lot of testing. I understand. And I'm never going to convince you that that's the problem. To me, Stockton, I know. These are serious issues, Stockton. I understand that. You've said that. I understand that. I mean, it's health and safety. Stockton, I'm not talking about something that's in a car and going to fall apart or whatever. I understand. This is pressure bearing. I understand. This is intense pressure, Stockton. I understand. I understand that. I want this project to work. I was here before this started. I understand. And I know that you want the program to work. I understand. I'm just telling you, and you told me what failure was. Stockton, it's going to leak. Am I going to die because it leaks? It's going to leak. But am I going to die? But am I going to die? Huh? Get Stockton. I mean, obviously, we haven't exhausted the amount of companies that could do testing for us. There's 2 samples sitting in the shop floor right now. Those aren't samples. No, they are. You gave us those are scrap. They are segments. Holy crap. They are segments from the carbon hull. No, they're scrap. That's called scrap. Okay. If you look at them, they're shit. They're shitty. They look shitty. Those aren't, I disagree with your decisions. One cooler guy in the chat with the Australian $420.69 donation. Nice. Truly taking the race to the bottom theory of cost reduction and profits far too literally. Not to make the loss of life a joke, but dear God, this is why OSHA is written in blood, not ink. One cooler guy, you are indeed the coolest guy. Thank you so much. your incredibly generous donation. You don't need to do that, but I will go ahead because you're so generous. I will go ahead and apologize for every time I've done a bad Australian accent. I'm sorry. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. Although I give that accent a 9 out of 10. Man. All right, chat. Back to our little radio play. Where are we in our little radio play? Okay, just jumping. We're almost to the end of this. Thank you again, one cooler guy. You are a cooler guy for sure. That's way too much money. You must be. Do you own a submarine? Are you like submarine rich? You might be. You don't just throw around money like that. I appreciate it. It's too much. Too much. Okay. Well, I point this out. Oh, right here. Okay, chat. So here's where the discussion is going. Mr. Rush, Stockton. Right, that's what I'm saying. He's clear. We've known each other long enough, okay? This other guy is not going to want to do the testing that you want to do. Okay, well, I understand that, but, and then someone jumps in. Is there, they're kind of like trying to get in between them. But you and I disagree about it as well, that you said, no, this isn't happening. I still disagree with you. Right. But I continue to work for you. Stockton, yes. But I mean, this is something different. No, I mean, that's is this a payroll issue or no, I get it. We're completely, Stockton, the real question is, are you letting me go right now? Do you want to let me go right now? Right now. I don't think we have a choice. Someone jumps in. I feel like we're being hasty here. Well, I mean, I think we were very clear on what the director wants to do to be comfortable and what he thinks we have to do this safely. And I can see where we're going. I don't see that there's going to be any bending on that because they're fundamental issues. I mean, it's like a Buddhist or Christian thing for them or something. I don't know what it is, but this is just who he is. That's why we hired him. It's for that level of detail and safety and approach to it. And now we've gotten to a point where his experience and his estimation of the correct way to do things is fundamentally opposite of the approach that I want to take. Are you, for lack of a better word, like making this up as you go along? Well, I mean, that's not, I know that's what this is. No. This is a research and development program, and eventually it will transfer into an operational procedure and an ops deal. But we're going to collect data and data and points that are going to set limitations on the eventual procedures. That's the reality of this program. Right. Okay. And so there's a lot of undetermined facts right now, yes, that we don't know, that we can't say. We know that, the hull is good to this or that. Yeah, exactly, Stockton says. We don't know all that information, and that to me is one of the attractions of being here. Doing innovative stuff, not knowing what's going to happen. And having that kind of intellectual stimulation. Jumping ahead to the end now, chat. Hair's on point tonight. Very kind. So you can see that basically the former director is up to his, getting up to his limit with Stockton here. I wonder if he's talking about James Cameron here. No idea. I think they might be talking about James Cameron here, but I can't tell. Please understand, Stockton. I'm not saying that you're going to die. That is a risk, and it could happen. There's a risk anytime you put a ship in the water, any vehicle I'm aware of, more than anybody here, okay, with your flight experience and stuff like that, and you know this. I know this. I've done a lot of dives. A lot of dives have gone wrong, okay? So I understand that, and I still do it. Okay? But the feel-good fighter is in there, and the feel-good fighter is not going to be fulfilled by you to make me comfortable to supervise you topside while you go down to 4,000 meters. Now, remember, Chad, this is all transcribed, so this might not be, correct grammar and stuff. That's not going to change. If we knew that the hull integrity was intact, then absolutely, not a problem. You can go down. Stockton, well, I do know that you don't believe what I believe. Yeah. And that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue. I mean, the fact is that, Stockton, and the fact is that I take, I take what he says. I get it. I take all the information sources that I have, and then I distill them down, and then I have confidence. But no, Stockton, what I mean is that I've seen so many problems with fundamental components that are going into this brand new vehicle. Okay. I've been taken aback by this. You really would too, maybe. And it's a lack of experience. He may be a good materials engineer, but he has not got the experience for submersibles, and this is his first mission. This is going to be one of the most trying projects. It really is, Stockton. It's innovative. Yes, I don't doubt any of that. But at the end of the day, he brings no experience to the table, this other guy. Okay. He's learning as he's going. That's it. So that's it. Nothing left. And the former director says, referring to his own job, at will state. What was that? At will state. I'll say mega buys to you. Oh, okay. It's never easy. Well, some are easier than others. That's unbelievable. All of that is unbelievable, Chet, to me. To get to a point in discussion with your your director of marine operations, you start having a serious concern with how testing should be done. And by the end of the conversation, the director, who has, years and years of experience, who actually testified this week or last week, he says, I'm at will, right? See ya. And then basically doing this, it's like, it's Stockton offers a platitude, it's never easy. And he's like, sometimes it is. Yeah. Actually, chat, there was one other thing. There was one other incredible exchange. I forget where it was now. Let me try to find it. Because, oh, right. I know what I'm talking about now. That's like the ending of The Social Network. See, the problem with this, it's hard to search this document because some of it's, weird. Let me do a quick pass through here, chat. Thank you again to Cooler Guy, chat. If that was interesting, if my reading skills were okay, if you learned anything about this situation, spam your favorite emoji while I look for something real quick. I just want to... I do kind of want to leave that final nail in the coffin for you there, because that was kind of a good ending to that. But, wait, where was that? It was somewhere, chat. Maybe I won't find it, but we'll see. Spamming it. Oh, right. Okay, here it is, chat. I found it. Nice. Okay. Returning to our audio drama chat. Just real quickly. My main concern here, Stockton, I get that you want to be gung-ho with this thing and wanting to go and dive in the sub yourself to test it. Again, it's not a gung-ho thing. Stockton, I think you need to listen to me here. The main thing that you are sweeping under the carpet here is that if something goes wrong with you being in that sub, okay, your topside support, like me, those that are left, those are the ones that have to deal with the outcome of this. Those are the ones left to answer to the accident investigation team. Ocean Gate will be done. I understand. Everybody says, oh, it will just be for Stockton's wife to deal with. That's the only person that could be possibly liable for all this. Nonsense. The accident investigation team will come down on us. I understand. It would shut the industry down, Stockton. I understand. That's bullshit, by the way, but I understand. I get it. Look, at Virgin Galactic, you got 3 dead people. I mean, if you want to get extreme about it, sometimes there's dead people. Okay, yeah, sure, Stockton, but what I'm saying, it's not just your ass on the line here. Oh, by the way, it's not going to be you bringing my body back. No, I know. Look, if you don't want to be associated with the innovation here, no, I never said that. I'm just voicing my safety concerns as an employee of the company. I understand. I've been here for 3 years. I'm addressing what I view as safety concerns. Yeah, which I have been dismissed on by everybody. No, I haven't dismissed them. I've listened to them, and I've given you my response to them, and you think my response is inadequate. Yeah. So that's the impasse that we're in. Stockton. Everything I've done on this project is with people telling me it won't work. You just can't do that. It won't happen. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't start a dive in near zero visibility and inexperienced crew. People didn't understand what sonar could do for you. I've been fighting this thing since I started this business, okay? And I don't want to fight it with you right now. I don't want to put you in a position that you are feeling like you've badgered into signing off on me going and killing myself. I have no desire to die, okay? I've got a nice granddaughter. I'm going to be around. I understand this is this kind of risk. I get it. And I'm going in with eyes open, and I think this is one of the safest things that I will ever do. So now, chat, I know, I know that wasn't the most technical discussion, and I don't have, as much submersible or underwater engineering experience as some other people that you watch, but I think in going through that with my own reading comprehension skills. I hope you did get something out of that. You know, I think I did get something out of that. I got a picture of what the environment that created this catastrophe was like, right? And I don't know if you've ever been in toxic workplace environments, but I think many of you will recognize the kind of leader he was. Manuel Sobrevivencia, thank you for your help on this episode, Manuel. Bring his body back? What body? Cliff Field with a New Zealand $5. I suspect that this incident will be a case study for many years. Oh, 100%. This will be the poster child for submarine submersible safety for a long time. But yeah, so I haven't seen anyone else go through that material like we just went through it. But I think it really is good context for everything, where even with repeated safety concerns on fundamental issues of an experimental craft, like, just put me in it, I'll do it. And that'd be one thing, you know. It would when you know, that would be one thing. It would be one thing, you know, we all laugh, maybe not very hard, but we all laugh at the guy who, you know, wanted to see if the Earth was actually flat, so he launched himself in a homemade rocket and crashed and died. You know, that's kind of sad, but it's not surprising and it's very silly. The difference here is that hubris and wealth bullied other people into situations that they knew were dangerous, and it's toxic and it's disgusting and it's reprehensible, and the ultimate price was paid. One of those diving was just a kid. You know, what was he, 19, 20, 25? Physics doesn't care how rich you are. Physics doesn't care what you've explored or how. You know? When you get enough success in life, you feel like, you know, it's never going to happen to you, or you're the smartest, usually man. You're the smartest man in the world, and you're smartest man in any room, and how could you ever do wrong? Well, you see what happens under real pressure. I don't know why I woke up feeling a little, more on the somber side, I guess, today. I think this is very informative on his psyche. He truly thought his genius was infallible, and anyone who disagreed with him was a heretic. Thank you, Shifty, for the 10. Thank you. I'm not going to say your name, but thank you for the 10 memberships. This one, I don't... you with the F, I don't think that name is okay. But thank you for being here. Majorly awesome. Happy to see you again, brother. Hope you're well. I severely hope other people in these positions learn from this. Love the show. Thank you, bass player. With the 5. JP Lab started with 2 kids playing with explosives in their backyard. Well, it didn't continue that way, did it? You know. It's a great name? What? Am I missing something? Yeah, is that Elon? Kyle, how do I grow that mane? It takes a long time. And genetics. Play the crab clip once more for the audience, dear bearded sir. says PH Bridegroom with a 1337. We don't need to really linger on how things die at pressure. It's fine. Crab clip, guys. Do you know what clip they're talking about yet? We don't need to see that, do we? It's a clip of a crab dying due to enormous pressure differential. You can look it up. Yes, you can look. Yeah, you can look it up if you want to. And it's in the last stream as well. We did look at it in the stream. Do the clip with the shark instead. No, thanks. I don't like seeing things die. Crab clip. No, see now you're just rioting. You just formed an unruly mob. I don't trust you. Do everything you can, but do things right the first time, because sometimes you don't get a second attempt. Says Fatto Catto with the 10. See, when we're talking about that mission specialist testimony last week, when she said this is kind of like the Apollo missions. No, it's not. When you say do things right the first time because there might not be a second time, places like NASA and other, organizations that do dangerous stuff like this, they don't wait for the accident to happen. They test and they test and they test and they test, and they know there will most likely be a second opportunity, because to get to the point of testing that they were at, they were very rigorous. It is not safe design principles to try to get something right the first time with that kind of risk. He had a death wish, but disguised it as bravado. It's all there. Look at his words. It says TS with the 5. Maybe. I don't want to read too much into it. I think I probably read too much into it just with my inflection of reading the words, but, I can't psychologize the man, but it does seem pretty clear, If we shot if we shot a satellite at a distant planet with a telescope pointed at it, sending a live feed of the surface back to Earth, would we see the live footage sped up? What? No. What? Thank you, Clark, for the 10. No, I don't think so. If you're talking about, well, you've seen footage from Mars, you've seen footage from Venus. It doesn't speed up, I think what you're getting at, yeah, there's the time light delay thing, but for an image that you're transmitting as data, that is moving at the speed of light, and then you just receive it. Nothing weird happens to that. I think you were describing like trying to look at another planet super far away and see on its surface kind of thing. Crab footage. Oh my God, you guys are bad people. I don't know. You're bullying me into showing you this poor crab. Poor crab. Chad, I will give you an opportunity to look away. This what you're about to see is a crab get sucked into that tiny hole. And this is a demonstration of what happens to even things with exoskeletons at tremendous pressure. I will be clicking on this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will show it one more time. And now it is over. Yeah, that's yeah. So that creature was built for undersea pressure and had an exoskeleton. Humans are not built for undersea pressures and do not have exoskeletons. And a bunch of carbon fiber was rocketed at their bodies at speed. So, actually, do you... No, this is even grosser. I'm not going to show you. Do you remember the episode with decompression for Mythbusters, where they put a meat suit body into a old diving suit and let the pressure equalize, and his whole body got shoved up into his helmet? That one was legitimately disturbing. And that is closer to what would happen. Yeah. Show video. Our chat. I mean, I don't want to just revel in this, chat. Oh no, I can't. I probably can't show the Mythbusters clip. Their footage got transferred to a new company, and that new company's weird. I don't want to deal with it. Fat Produce with the 5. Some say to leave the wreck grave sites alone. I disagree. They're archaeology after a certain point, especially after no longer in living memory. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think you should move the Titanic. That seems just completely infeasible as well. Devils Never Cry, thank you, as always, for your support. How about a distraction? Can we get your opinion on Magic the Gathering this week? Says Chris with the 5. Chad, there's Magic the Gathering drama. I didn't know if you heard. They banned the most popular and expensive cards in the most popular and expensive format. 4 of them. Well, 3, really. The 3 big ones. And a lot of people lost a lot of value, and a lot of people are mad. I'm still going to play the game. I don't really care too much. Like, I personally lost a lot of money, but money's, that's not... I don't invest into Magic. I play Magic. I'm fine with Dockside being gone. I was just very tired of the card. So I don't know. I haven't taken the banned cards out of all my decks yet. So we'll see. Next time I play, maybe if I notice something was bad, If you want more in-depth talk about carbon fiber, says Manuel de Sobrevivencia. You can probably find some materials engineering that works for F1. That'd be a cool interview. That is a cool interview. So you lost value, not mana. No, I lost both. So they banned some of the most powerful cards in the most popular format because casually, how most people play the game, the cards are crazy expensive and they're crazy strong. To the point where if you want to play that game, that format competitively, 100% of decks play these cards that were banned, if they could. So, yeah, I'd have to notice a real difference. I think mostly people are angry about the potential overreach of rules committees that aren't actually employees of Wizards of the Coast, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories about maybe they dumped their cards and then banned them to get money and say, I don't know anything. I haven't seen enough to go that far with anything, but yeah, I can't say I'm too mad. I just have cards that I'm going to take out and put in a binder. I'm still going to play strong decks. I'm still going to want to win. It's just some decks that were precious to people. I mean, yeah, Chad, you have to understand the kind of decks that I play can be like $10,000. And so you can see how people might get heated if you change the strength of a deck that someone has been cultivating and purchasing and foiling out for a decade, and then you make the deck less good. You can see how people would be mad about that. No, I get it, but it's a game. It's a corporation that makes money from a game. Games change. I don't know. Proxy all the cards. I have a couple proxies, yeah. But yeah, what do I know about Magic the Gathering? It's not like there's an experimental new commander that I'm working on just sitting right in front of me right now, or anything that I'm staring at while I'm talking about people dying. Z! Z! In the chat. Why are all of my chat windows experimental, not rated for this depth? What the heck? What the heck? Z, not to be outdone, my friend Z, I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for being here again. Z with the $500 donation. I finally get to catch a live stream again as well. I hope everything with you has been fantastic, Z. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you again. Chad, if you don't know Z, Z is a madman. Z is completely bald. And when I say bald, I mean disgustingly shiny. And what he does is he wakes up on his private island, gets up fully nude, already covered in baby oil, doesn't have 10,000 bottles, that's a waste. Covered in baby oil, wakes up on his private island, goes out, he wakes up at 2 p.m. because he can. He gets up, goes out, and he uses the baldness of his perfectly engineered head to signal the helicopter that's going to take him to the next MMA fight. Z is absolutely insane. Thank you for your support, Z. You've always been a whale in this pond, and I appreciate you for sure. Thanks for being here, buddy. Me as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, welcome to the party, pal. First time. It's a space player with the 5. Cards get banned. You know, I will buy the next good cards because I've been playing Magic for 25 gosh dang years. Probably not going to stop anytime soon. Rice Lee with the $9.99. Been thinking a lot about entropy recently. You belong in the right place, you geek. Would you consider evolutionary life to be the perfect way to increase entropy? The first mind-blowing thing that someone said to me when I moved out to the location of the facility or not, I went to a dinner, and at the dinner, a physicist named Sean Carroll was giving a talk. Sean Carroll is now very famous. He's a great communicator. He was more in like the skeptic atheism circles beforehand, but what really got him famous was pushing the idea of the many worlds hypothesis in quantum mechanics. And he's written books, he's done interviews, you've probably seen him. Anyway, I went to a dinner at his house, and he was also talking about entropy, and he actually said exactly what you said, Reese. He said, "What is life but a way to efficiently increase entropy in the universe?" Now, he said that as a counter to the point that how could any complex systems emerge if everything tends towards disorder? How can you have ordered things such as we? And he asked us to ponder the idea, well, maybe complex systems are even better at creating disorder. Maybe galaxies coming together is an even better way to mix up the universe. Are we ordered? Are we ordered, though? Says Ew Kerman. Yeah. Not intelligently, no, but evolved to be ordered. Yeah. We can see it in all the other animals on this planet. It's very clear we evolved through a process of natural selection. In fact, I've heard it described, and I always say, my biology professor said this once to me, nothing in biology really makes sense without evolution. So, I had to take the dog for a walk. What did I miss? Says Divinia Robbins. Everything! You missed everything. The other problem, the dude JB, the other thing with the magic problem is that the people who are most vocal are also the smallest. What's up with the Asmongold style title? Says Savage. Savage, I don't know if you're late to the stream, but I titled the stream, yes, kind of like a moist critical way, but I backed it up by truly showing you some crazy evidence that has come out about Titan. So I'm not clickbaiting you. And unlike Asmongold, I have nice hair and a nice face and a clean room. I also have decent takes about women in video games. Asmongold has none of these. Well, we can't actually see your room. Yeah, you can. I mean, do I look like I need to Marie Kondo this thing? No. Does Asmongold's room look like a room that a smoker died in? Yeah. I don't know why I'm feeling spicy today, chat. All this talk about death and destruction. Let's keep the stream. I think we've made our points today, chat. Is this a diss track? No, I don't know. It was a weird morning. I'm a smoker. I can confirm I died in his room. By the way, my name's pronounced like Reese. Yeah, that's what I said. Like Reese Darby. Like Reese Darby. And look, chat, the thing about, even if you disagree with people like some of these streamers who do a lot of drama content, what you cannot deny is they are learning how to play the game better than us science types, you know, in terms of like figuring out what the algorithm really eats up. And unfortunately, chat, if you want to win the game, you got to play it a little bit, you know? Anyone else here an official super nerd? Says Ryan does stuff apparently all the way from the back in the Because Science Days. Ryan, I appreciate you being here. Wear that badge honorably for all time. John Mark Dean says, here's a tenner for keeping your room clean, mate. Appreciate you. Thank you for the fantastic stream, Kyle. Game is game. Chat, I hope that, I know we got a little, after we read through all that exchange, I know we got a little fast and loose, and maybe we're joking around a little bit. Chat, I would prefer to talk about fun, sciencey things, but I think this is a situation that we could learn from, that is educational, that has a lot of different moving parts and human stories. And thank you, Manuel, with another 5. I think we can learn from it, just like you guys can learn from this here. But honestly, chat, no, I do hope that this was in some way, it was very clear to you that I'm not trying to be exploitative. I want to learn from the situation, and I think we did so today. Thank you for being here as we did that. Thank you. We started off the stream with hundreds of gifted donations. We went into the middle of the stream with $400 and $500 donations from Z and one cooler guy. You can see, thank you so much for your generosity today. Honestly, I didn't expect it. And you don't need to do that, but when you do, I very much appreciate it. It all goes towards our nerdy mission of educating and explaining everything underneath the stars and beyond, and underneath the oceans, as a matter of fact. So chat, no matter where I see you next time, next episode is actually going to be underwater. It's going to be about sharks and a myth about sharks that has all but doomed them, that I want to rectify, or at least put my foot in the ring. That's not the expression. At least say something about it. If you want to join the facility and get that video a day early, and join our private Discord where you can ping me about this, that, and anything that we do, like joining an esports team. That's patreon.com/Kyle Hill at level 3. associate professor. I think you get access as well to our private Discord. We have a private members-only live stream on Monday, probably. But yeah, new video maybe in the next 2 days or so. If there's more evidence about this that is really bombastic and it deserves a whole nother stream, maybe we'll do it. But yeah, keep letting me know your thoughts, your feelings, what I get wrong, what I didn't, what you liked, what you didn't. I appreciate you and all of your generosity. Incredibly generous today. And no matter where I see you next time, until that time, be well and be nice to each other. Because this is all we got. Well, that and drum bass pedals!